This is TJ Presley, Module 16 case study, parental apathy. What do we know about this case? Mrs. Rose is a new assistant principal with no prior experience. There has been PTA, PTO at JFK school in the past, but not currently. The principal does not want PTA or PTO presence in his school, but he later agreed to consider a parental advisory group. An announcement was made to have students invite their parents to a meeting that was going to be held on Monday at 7:30, and only 8 parents showed up to this meeting, and the principal considered canceling the meeting. What do we need to know? The first thing that I need to know is the size of the school. I know only 8 parents showed up, but if the school only has 100 students, that's probably a reasonable ratio. But if there's 1,500 or 2,000 students, that's a significant difference there. Why was the previous PTA or PTO discontinued? Was there something that happened? Was it a lack of planning? Were there issues going on amongst the group? That's something I would certainly need to know. Why is the principal adamant about no PTA or PTO? What was his involvement before? Again, were there issues in the past that led to this? And why does the principal sense that the people do not want to be involved? Is this an assumption of his, or have they actually expressed this? Why was the announcement sent home with the kids rather than sent directly to the parents? This leads me to believe that there's not really the best line of communication between the school and the community. And why such a short notice for the meeting? We know that the principal wasn't really big on this idea. Was this his plan to maybe appease the assistant principal by having the meeting, but not really given much plan for the meeting to happen? So here's the problem. There's a lack of parental involvement and communication with the school. My plan of action, first step is to have the meeting. When I'm at this meeting, the first thing I'm going to do is thank the parents in the audience that attended. I think it's a pretty big deal that 8 people decided to show up and take time out of their busy lives to make it happen. I would be talking about parental involvement, and some things that I would be discussing is how do we get more parents involved? Who should be here that isn't? How do we improve communication? And what are the best times to hold meetings? I'd also discuss goals of the advisory group. I know most of it's going to be centered around student achievement, student success, but I'd like to see if there's other topics that the parents would like to discuss. The second step of my action plan is to schedule ongoing regular meetings. I'd like to get them on the calendar, get it posted, so people know about it and they can plan for it. The third step is to utilize technology to share the information. That way, parents are more informed. This day and age, most people have smartphones and have access to social media and other things like that. And I also like that platform, whatever it may be, to offer two-way communication, so there's a little bit more involvement that way. Some strategies. The first strategy is to be a good listener. In this situation, I let the parents do most of the talking. I'd like to hear their input. This is going to hopefully allow them to voice their opinions on things, and also let us know what happened in the past that didn't work out the last time. And another strategy is to be willing to help. Come in with the approach of how can we help you? Not, the administrator shouldn't be there dictating how things should go. I think the parents should kind of lead this, and we should just offer assistance. Be open-minded with that. Take suggestions from the parents and then write them down. Follow through. Do what you say you're going to do, which is pretty straightforward. But if there's some good suggestions, I think that those should be followed through with. And then finally is follow up. We need to reflect on some things that have changed and make adjustments if needed. So what's best for the students? Well, research has proven that there's a correlation between parental involvement and student success. The more parents involved, the greater likelihood that students will be achieving at a higher level. The second thing is nobody can advocate better for a student than their own parent or guardian. I think it's very important to get parents involved. They obviously have a vested interest in their own student. And then finally, parental involvement reaffirms the importance of education for the students. If the students see that their parents care, that's going to lead into the students caring more about their own education. My resolution, The first thing I do at this meeting is challenge the original 8 members to bring a friend to the next meeting. Let's try to turn that 8 into 16. And then at the next meeting, turn that 16 into 32 and so on and so forth, and try to get more involvement that way. I think by having a plan, the parents will have more buy-in with this kind of a group and also feel the need to attend. If they're like me, I really don't like to attend meetings. And I certainly, if I go to meetings, I definitely need to know that there's going to be some sort of value that's brought to the meeting, and I'm going to feel like, it was worth my time. And then finally, I'm going to share the information via technology so the parents that are unable to attend can access the information. Also communicate, so it's got to have two-way communication and makes them feel involved. So thinking, feeling, valuing, for starters, I was thinking that the principal had a previous bad experience, which has led him to this unwillingness to bring this back to the school. I was feeling that the school desperately needs more lines of communication and wants to have parental involvement. They're just not really sure where to go from where they've been in the past. I was really valuing the 8 parents that decided to show up and represent. They weren't representing their own students only. They were also representing all the other students, which was huge. And I was really valuing the assistant principal's willingness to go against the grain and make this happen. Unresolved issues. The first question I have is, was the first meeting productive enough to change the principal's mindset? We know he's had bad experience in the past. Was this first meeting good enough in his mind to kind of change his thought process there? Did the parents find value in the first meeting? They've also had a bad experience. Maybe. We don't know that. But did they find value in this, and did they find it good enough to move forward with the idea? Was the chosen technology platform effective? If they use Facebook or Remind, did the parents feel that they could communicate both ways? Were they feeling like they were receiving information that they should be receiving? And then finally, what obstacles are keeping parents from attending? Is it work schedules? Is it other obligations like sports? Are they young parents like myself, where 7:30 is bedtime and that's a pretty tough time to go? These are things that we need to know. How did I promote academic success? Well, we know that parental involvement correlates with student success. The more parents we can get there, the better off our students are going to be. That means more parents advocating for their child's education. If there are things that need to be changed, we need to hear those voices from the parents so we can act on them. And then, of course, it opens up more lines of communication to promote our students' achievement. Students like to hear that and see that. Also, parents do. And student achievement leads to more student achievement. So that'll be good either way. Promoting personal well-being, and how did I do that? Parents and students will both have an increased sense of belonging. That's a belonging to the school, which will then turn into a belonging to the community. Inclusiveness will increase with all voices being heard. Especially in the bigger schools with more diversity, this is an opportunity for various backgrounds and ethnic backgrounds coming together and everyone being heard. One thing also that I thought of is that it may bring in additional resources to the school and or district that were never there before. The parents typically work in the neighborhood or the community that the kids go to school in, and maybe there's some resources from jobs out there that they can bring into the school that we didn't have before. How did I promote communities of engagement? Getting parents involved will increase community involvement. Like I said, those parents, they work in the community. They know the business owners in the community. This is going to increase that sense of community with the school and with the town itself. Several voices are more powerful than one. Positive changes are more likely to happen. If there is a change that needs to happen, rather than hearing it from one person, we're hearing it from several people. I think there's a greater likelihood that that change happens. And then finally, with both parents and students involved, there will be an enhanced sense of pride for both school and community. So like I said, with the parents being involved, the students will become more involved, which is going to increase that community pride and school pride as well. Thank you.